Hello! Oh, this is not right. 1 second. Okay, there we go. Greetings, I'm Bonefoot, and I'm here today to talk about a game that is very well known in the retro game collecting scene. It is said to be the second rarest commercially released game for the NES, due to being released so late in the console's life cycle, and having a limited release as a rental exclusive in North America, among other factors. I'm talking about this game over here. The Flintstones: The Surprise at Dinosaur Peak. At the time of making this video, both the NTSC and the PAL versions of the game are selling for ridiculous prices online. Anywhere from $300 to nearly $2,000, depending on the condition and whether it comes in the box. That is not why I'm talking about it though. The reason why I'm talking about it and reviewing it is because it was one of my favorite games back when I was a kid. The NES was the first home console I ever owned, and at that time I was watching the Flintstones cartoon on TV. It was never my favorite show or anything, but I watched it whenever it happened to be on. It was good. That was probably the reason I decided to get this game one of those rare times we drove to the nearest city that had the only game store within about 80 kilometers or so. It's very plausible that I got the game complete in the box, but for like many other people back then, the box was just packaging and was thrown in the trash shortly after buying the game. I've had this copy of the game ever since then, but it wasn't until about 3 years ago that I learned about its rarity and high selling price when I was watching the Game Chasers. They found it for super cheap and made a huge deal about it, and I was like, wait, what? I had no idea. It was pretty funny. I did always find it a bit odd that it never made anyone's favorite NES games lists on YouTube and stuff, but now I know why. Anyways, the game was released for the NES in 1994 and was developed by Taito, who was previously known for such games as Space Invaders, Jungle Hunt, Elevator Action, and Bubble Bobble. The Surprise at Dinosaur Peak was a successor to another Flintstones game Taito released 2 years prior, The Rescue of Dino and Hoppy. I haven't had the chance to play that one yet, but the games look extremely similar. The Surprise at Dinosaur Peak starts with Fred and Barney suddenly noticing that their kids, Pebbles and Bam Bam, are missing. Come on, Barn, we've got to find those kids. I'm with you, buddy. After a short search, they find their kids at the bottom of a volcano called Dinosaur Peak. Suddenly the volcano erupts and the lava separates the two parties from getting to each other. Pebbles, don't panic, honey, Daddy's coming. Bam Bam, hang on, son. Bam, 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 bam. The Great Gazoo appears at the scene but is unable to help. He tells Fred and Barney of a legend about a fire dinosaur that lives inside the volcano who might be able to help them stop the lava flow. To get on top of and then inside the volcano, they decide to seek help from the pterodactyls. They reside on the neighboring island on the other side of the volcano, so to get there Fred and Barney have to take a detour through jungles and caves, a giant's house, a witch's mansion, and many other dangerous locations. The visuals of the game are very cartoony and maybe a little bit crude at times. I like the graphics, they're so simple. It's like someone drew that background on paint or something. Those trees and the mountains, so good. I'm a sucker for colorful games and I love the wide variety of colors displayed here. All the different distinct visual themes of the levels are very well executed. The level where everything is giant of course reminded me of Giant Land from Super Mario Bros. 3, and the Witch's Mansion. Oh god, this level actually creeped me out when I was a kid. The music and everything, I don't know. The animations in the characters and enemies are also a lot of fun, and the overall presentation is just really great for an NES game based on a cartoon. The music in the game is good too. All the tunes, while they're a little short, around 30 to 40 second loops, are very catchy without ever becoming annoying. I hadn't played this game in nearly 10 years and I still remembered most of them and just couldn't help but hum along. Ah, the freaking music, it's so good. Oh god, fucking monkeys. Gameplay-wise, the game is a pretty standard but well-made platformer. The The controls are responsive and tight, and it just feels good to play. One neat thing is that you can at any time seamlessly change between playing as Fred or Barney by pressing the select button. They each have their own weapon and different platforming abilities. Fred has a club that he can charge up for a more powerful attack, and Barney has a slingshot that he can use from long range, but the downside is it only does half as much damage as Fred's club. Fred's platforming ability is being able to hang on to and climb up ledges, and Barney's is shimmying across ropes and poles and jumping off of them. There are stars you can collect to fill the Yappa Dabba Doo trademark meter that gives you a 1-up when full. And then there's 2 powerful special weapons you can find, a hammer and a bowling ball that use your stamina meter that fills up automatically. The game has a total of 8 levels and they all have their own very distinct visual style. The gameplay also has decent variety from level to level. Each one has some sort of unique gameplay mechanic you need to adjust to, and there are hidden bonus rooms inside the levels that can be pretty tricky to access sometimes. I remember there was a secret here. I think you need to drop down or something. Let's try it. No. I remembered there was something like that there. It's pretty sneaky. Second try. That's how you do it. I like that. That's a cool little secret. Whee! At the end of every level except the very first one, there's a boss. The bosses start off extremely easy with a Triceratops that pretty much just walks back and front, but they gradually get more complex as the game goes on, and the final boss battle that I don't wanna spoil actually gives you an unexpected level of challenge with multiple stages and such. Aside the regular levels, there are 2 transition levels that have a completely different gameplay style. There's an auto-scrolling surfing level where you have to avoid obstacles and enemies by jumping over them or killing them. I always want this one to be super hard when I was a kid. And then there's a flying level that plays like a shooter. On top of all that, there's also 2 minigame-like bonus sports levels, hockey and basketball. In both of them you have to try to beat your opponent in a one-on-one match. Both the transition and sports levels are fun to play and bring much appreciated variety to the overall gameplay flow. Oh, is this what I think it is? Yes! Hockey! I freaking love this. I remember I came up with this strategy when I was a kid. I found out how to easily make a goal. You go down and forward, tackle, go back and shoot under his legs when he's jumping. It's almost cheating. The computer can't do anything about it. I don't really have any notable grievances with the game, but it doesn't really excel at anything particular either. The gameplay is fun and varied, the presentation is fitting and good. It just feels like a solid, better than average, all around well crafted package. However, it does feel rather easy, but I think that's mostly because I'm so familiar with it. I remember the game being really challenging to me back when I was a kid. I have great memories of me and my sister passing the controller after every death and being so into the game in those hard parts and eventually just having to tragically give up because we couldn't make it. But because the game was so simplistic feeling and controlled so well, we knew it was our fault we failed and that we just needed a little more practice. And eventually we did manage to finish the game and it was awesome. There were so many nearly impossible games on the NES back then that it felt refreshing to have a game that you could actually beat with some practice when you were that young. But no matter what age you are or how difficult the game is for you, it's still fun to beat up annoying monkeys. It's fun to jump on crocodile heads, it's fun to humiliate that enemy in sports, and it's fun to ride on that mine cart. Actually no, that part wasn't fun. But it is fun to jump a shark and smash a pelican with your club, to be pushed around by a pack of dinosaurs, to super jump out of a giant toaster, to do this, and to fly a pterodactyl. Are these fun things worth the ridiculous price tag? No, definitely not. If I didn't have this nostalgic bond with the game, I would sell it in a heartbeat. If it goes on Virtual Console one day for $5, then I recommend you check it out. It's a fun game, and I'll end off on that. Stay tuned for more videos and thanks for watching. Take care. It's been a while. I'm a sucker for colorful games. Colorful. Oh, you stupid bat. Ah, you stupid me. Whee! Whoa, that was close. This is some... Bye! Goodbye! Goodbye!